And then it would, yes, you could have like walking distances or things like that, or
Yeah.
yep, yeah,
I know
So I
at
did.
UWL a few years ago, we had a whole kiosk where you could walk up to and it had interactivity like that, but it was a whole like I want to say $50,000 project to map the whole campus and graphics and all that, and doing it here just on the fly. It just kind of
yeah. I think it took maybe 2 minutes.
yeah.
Well, here you guys will be able to see this demo here. So this is a demo that I made. I made this while I was at the conference. So just while I'm listening there and I'm actually going through a different workshop thing, I threw this together. And this was before I downloaded Cursor 2, so it's even faster. But it's a full ERP system for Fuel Ops company. And if you log in as a president, you go ahead and see the Site 360, which does have these maps in it. And you click in it and you see a little depot information, view details of it. Then down it gives you, compliance history, financial for that particular location. And we could map this out as large or as small as you want. But it's an interactive one, has a AI summary, and this is all just simulated data, but it gives you the concept of this took me probably 30 minutes to throw together from a workflow perspective. And then like we could build this into being an actual application for them if they wanted to. So here, like your proposal generator, knowledge base. And I had to ask the group I was talking to, is this a real, machine? And they're like, yeah, it's a machine we work with all the time. I'm like, all right, well, it has a knowledge base here for you on different aspects of it and be able to edit it or analytics. So it gives you basically, I mean, anything from dashboarding. This is basically a centralized ERP solution that allows this particular client or clients to potentially replace a lot of their really expensive internal ERP systems with ones that's completely custom fit to them and gives what brought it to mind is Sean's asking about the mapping. It's just something that the AI did automatically for us. And again, these are all fake, like none of them are real, but so it's a cool use case for this type of to both rapid prototype, and then once you get the prototype at a point where the client would actually like it, then you just go build it. So I bet we could deploy something like that in probably under a month. So are you guys able to click into it and click around on that and play with that? I think I put
Yeah,
it in the chat.
yeah, it looks pretty cool.
Any other questions? Otherwise, I'll show some cursor stuff, and we'll be for the most part done with the new stuff anyway. I mean, cursor is new, but all right. So here, the example you guys saw earlier, this petrol thing. What is one example or enhancement you'd like to see in this tool? I'm going to say in the Site 360, can you add 20, 20 locations instead of the handful you have now? We're going to add a browser tab. All right. Once done, navigate to it and test it. So it's doing very similar to what you just saw in the ChatGPT projects one, that it has a file that found it. There it's adding those files in. It added a bunch of site locations, information, and it goes pretty quickly here. Then it'll navigate to it. Oh, I know what it's not doing. So you have to run Docker. So right now what it's doing is fighting because it doesn't know that I have to update it. Yeah, restart the container. So now it's researching the container, which is just restart. It's really just rebooting the computer. But if you look at the speed that it's doing everything here, it's pretty fast. And here it's seeing that it tried to add more, but for some reason only 6 are still showing. So now it's troubleshooting that. And now, right now, what it's doing is it's searching through the whole code base to try and find out how do I reset this data inside of here. And hopefully it doesn't plan too long, of course, but sometimes it'll go take 30 minutes where it'll just sit there and go back and forth. And one of the big advantages, so I've shown Cursor in a couple other meetings. So if this is your first time seeing Cursor, I don't know if that's bad or not, but you have the ability here to actually click on individual data components, and then the chat over here gets context of the exact item or element that you're clicking on here, as opposed to before, we should have explained the page and where I'm having the issue. There we go. So now I'm going to say, can you make these locations across the United States and not in one town? If you had a CSV file that had all your company locations, or like you're talking a quick trip mapping project, you would just put that data in there, and then it will go ahead and build a map for you appropriately. So now it's going to go re-update all the data, but give me it all across the United States. So like Nick, I like Bowerbilt. If you had you could build a pretty quick safety portal that's chock full of safety incidents, a safety reporting form. So that way people can go online with a portal or even a handheld and submit safety review information. I'll say there's an accident, have someone go over their phone, take some pictures, and it just uploads it directly to you. And then you get a digital workflow on the backside of that would allow it so that way, new incident, you go review it, choose where, change it to a setting, almost create like a ticketing system for safety instances across your facility, and build a nice little graph here of these are our different locations. These are the safety incidents that we've had at each one. This one here, I need to do some in-person training at because they have a higher than normal. Right? And you can also add, all stuff you can build pretty quickly.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty slick.
There we go. And as Sean was saying, something like this was a $50,000 project just 2 years ago. And there you guys saw it live in 5 minutes. So it really, I think
8 years ago, but yeah.
Yeah, but it really forces us to rethink how we solve problems. Because what was cost prohibitive in the past is now the more cost effective method to solve the problem. I said this a couple times at the AI retreat, but I don't think any enterprise should be looking at buying large pieces of software unless it's financial or regulatory in nature. If it's just operation software, efficiency software, it is far more cost effective to make it. And if people don't want to make it, call someone like us that can or will. So, I mean, but either way, it just doesn't, you can see here the labor time that once was, I can tell you, this would have been hundreds of hours of work. Now it's just minutes. So we're seeing our time with clients is more spent talking to them about what they want than building what they want. Yeah, so there you have a fully tested, deployed, publicly site. So if any of you go to that link now, refresh it, it has all those new updated locations in it. So a geek like me is pretty excited about all this. What? Why did it take my browser away? I like my browser over there. Oh well. And can you make the quote screen look better? It's ugly. So this here is the example of the type of super technical details I give the AI to go rebuild some of these. Whereas before you want, well, what frameworks do you want? How do you want the layout? Do you have a design? No, I'm just telling it looks ugly. I want it to look better. And then what else do we want to add to this? Ooh, what's our context? Actually, we're going to start a new chat. In the proposal screen, can you make it look cooler, like a pipeline? Add 20 examples in, please, and have a smooth workflow for managing the feeds. So there it's writing what it thinks is a newer, and none of us can type that fast. Like that's almost writing at the speed that terminals used to just return data to us. And Sean, like that's why when I'm talking to like your team members over there that are doing like the IoT or the software dev, this here's the future. Because even if you know what all that stuff is, you couldn't write it fast enough. And you'd be hard pressed to go through this code and find that it's really not as good as what a human would write.
Yeah, I'm just thinking the value added still is to understand the code, to see what it's doing, to learn how to troubleshoot it if you needed to. But AI can troubleshoot it in the future now too.
Yeah. Let me give you an example. So 2 weeks ago, and I talked about this at our AI retreat, but 2 weeks ago, we had an application that we had built over 10 years. So it was 9 million lines of code, and we end-of-lifed it back in 2018 because it would have taken about 2,000 to 4,000 labor hours to upgrade it to a modern version of PHP. And so none of our clients wanted to pay that to be. No, it's kind of like having to redo all the pipes in your house. You get no value off of it, but it's really expensive to do, right? It's not like you're getting a new bathroom out of it. Your pipes are bad. You have to put new pipes in, or a septic field. You're still using everything the same. Well, we had so Tim has a little more advanced workflow on this. My brother and co-owner of Cooley Tech. We put this piece of software, this 9 million line piece of software in there. After 4 prompts, 24 hours later, it was fully updated to PHP 8 with unit tests on every single endpoint and function that was inside of it, and documentation on code portions that were not used, as well as files that weren't used. And it gave us a document that showed users how to use the software itself. So like after it did that, Tim and I really just came to the conclusion that we're not concerned about having to understand any of the code anymore. The AI just knocked it out of the park. And that had been Tim and mine's, like, because we built the system. We knew it inside and out. We could have answered any of the questions because that's how we spent the first decade of our career.
Mm-hmm.
But it, without any context or knowledge about how it works, how the database works, how any of it worked, it fully upgraded it successfully. When we went and tested it, it works. Like there's advanced scheduling inside of it and advanced, I mean, there's tons and tons. I mean, yeah, think of 10 years of developer. And I had at one time 5 developers working on this full time. So it was tons of, rat nest code and undocumented, and the AI just figured it out, upgraded it, fixed it, and it works. We also tested at the AI workshop. There was someone there that had an old .NET 1.1 item that they had shut down because it was so old, but everyone loved it, but it's non-supportable anymore. It upgraded to a modern version of .NET as well.
Yeah.
Without humans ever looking at anything that was being done.
My biggest concern is I'm all for it doing all that, but I'm also for the sitting down with it and saying, explain these parts to me from a kind of 50,000 foot view, just so that I have a broad understanding of what we're doing here. Because it can get away from you.
Yep. So the first thing that, actually, that's an excellent point. So there's a new feature here. Actually, I'm going to start a new chat. I would like you to look at the petrol item in public SF and give me a project plan explaining what is happening and what could be advanced. So Composer added a plan feature. So it can either look at an existing code base or a new project, and it will go and do all the research, identify and document what it is currently, and then plan forward what it is you're looking at doing. So here's its plan. Here's its documented of how this tool works. So it looked at it and correctly identified that it's just a demo app. It doesn't have any actual back-end stuff. And then I could go ahead and update it. This is great. Could you create a plan for me to review on taking this app and making it production? I want my SQL database, create a sample data structure and detailed plans for each page, file, and function on how to do this. So now what it's doing is it's taking this demo one and it's going to create a plan that will actually move us forward and get it. So here it's creating its table structure, accounts, sites.
So let me just ask this technically. Using this tool, does it have access to your local server to host all this information?
All these are test servers that we're doing on.
Okay. So, I mean, this is a cloud-based tool, and is a cloud-based tool running to store these files locally on a test server then?
Yep. And then we just run into production once we're ready to go.
Okay.
And it creates its own migration scripts and all that stuff. So we have like I can run it locally on my computer if I wanted to, and then you have to do obviously a single file or get a web server up on your local computer. But the AI here can help you figure out how to do that. You can have it run on. We have like DigitalOcean, where we have a couple of these on there for like this one here. I think goes to DigitalOcean, and that's so I can have it a location that you guys can actually view. We have some that has access to sensitive information, but that's highly locked down to inside Cooleytech's corporate. So you have to be in our network with an authenticated computer that has access on our local secure network in order to view or use any of the data. And that one is read-only data that it doesn't, unless Tim creates a special endpoint that allows us to move data over, but then we can only access, we don't get access to databasing, we just get access to APIs. So it's like you do an API key. Anything higher level than that, Tim needs to be involved in.
So let me ask this question. This is doing a lot of SQL table creation. Are you running with like a full SQL product, or are you using like an Apache Linux Freebase SQL thing that it creates?
We've done Mongo unstructured. We've done SQL. We've done. I mean, you just tell it what you want to run, and it will actually set up the database for you, and then create the database, and then integrate the database.
So it generates all the license keys and all the securities and permissions and everything.
Yep. Because one of the things you can do here is then have run this against the software and say, what are the security vulnerabilities? Please act as a security specialist, and what are the known vulnerabilities? You can use a MITAR framework if you wanted to, or whatever industry framework you want to do, but it can go do a security assessment then against that. But yeah, so here you look, like this is all your table structure, right? I mean,
right.
Just creating this table structure would have taken a month or two of work from a human normally. So this is literally just going forward and creating the project plan to actually make this app live. And then if I told it to execute, I'd come back 2 hours later and I would have a working app. And if you look at like your accounts, when you run this past your sniff test, that's a pretty, if any project manager came to you and told you, here's a structure I'm looking at creating, you would say, that looks great. It's like straight up magic. I mean, it's really what it feels like. It feels like you're Tony Stark talking to Jarvis, make me an application that can track a petrol industry. I want this and this, this. And Jarvis is back. Yes, sir. Here you go.
So, Rodney, what's your take on the other kind of tools that they have out there, like Base 44 and some of the other AI website generating tools that are available now?
Those are all middleware, and the reason I don't like them is that they're going to tie you into their middleware. So like I can go and create raw HTML sites as quickly as any of those template sites can. And if they come up with a cool design, I can point my AI to their design and say, hey, can you emulate this design on my site? And it'll pull over and re-emulate it on mine. So I would rather not be tied to middleware. Like here, I use Cursor, but I can switch to any IDE I wanted to and do the same thing. Because as you're seeing, this doesn't have any actual info on my company or on my projects or any. It finds it out and then starts moving forward. And that has been a big thing we've been testing with. In fact, I'm looking, if any of you out there have a use case where you're like, I don't think the AI could do this, I would love it. I was at a cybersecurity conference today with 400 IT providers, and I'm asking them, give me an example. I want to see where this can't go, because so far it has blown out of the water with how impressed I have been with every aspect of what it's been able to do. Like, I haven't found its limit yet. Now, I found how to do things really expensively, but I haven't found where the limit is. So, and I have some of the IT providers go out there. They have this project that's huge, and the client doesn't want to go away from what they have to. I'm just telling them, send it to me. I just want to see if I can upgrade it. But anyway, your takeaway from that just be like, really look like this week as you're out at your jobs. What are things that could be reimagined if software development wasn't a constraint? Like if you could redesign every ad where you walk in, your emails all come in, they've been filtered, they go through. Like, if you could just redesign everything you're doing, and it could be from everything to just one little thing that annoys the daylights out of you. And what would be a solution? What would you want to happen? Because we all have this stuff where we're moving data from here to here, and it takes an hour or two, and we're like, there's no need. I'm moving stuff from a computer to a computer. The computer knows it all. I don't need to do this. And to me, that annoys the daylights out of me. When all the data is in the same spot and I'm just moving it back and forth, and I know I don't have to, and I'm doing it anyway, I'm like, no, forget that. I'm making applications now that do that. I think this is still actually writing. Yeah. So, all right. Well, I gotta get going to Milwaukee. Any other final questions?
No, that gives me a few ideas for things to look at and play with this week. Thank you, Rodney.
Yep.
Right.
And Cursor right now, from my understanding, is you can get a 1-week free trial of this. So if you want to go hop in on the weekend and just play around with it, go give it a shot.
All right. Thanks everybody for joining
Thank-
up.
Thank you.
Thanks,
All right.
guys.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye,
Take care,
guys.
guys. Bye.
Bye.